Jesus, I'm falling in love.
What's up, Vessel family? We are back with another episode. I came across the book Ecclesiastes where Solomon is the author, and he basically talks about how everything is meaningless. So I started studying it, and I was like, I gotta share this with my family. What are you chasing after? So in the book of Ecclesiastes, we find Solomon, the author, sharing his personal life experiences, sharing his general observations about life in a very pessimistic approach. In the conclusion, he concludes that everything is meaningless. He concludes that life apart from God is meaningless. And this opened my eyes up to a lot because I've been feeling like some of the things that I've been doing are like meaningless. And it's like, if God is not in it, then what am I doing it for? Ecclesiastes 1 through 2, it says, the words of the teacher, son of David, king in Jerusalem, meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher, utterly meaningless, everything is meaningless. Now mind you, Solomon is like one of the people in the Bible who had everything. He had riches, glory, honor, status, literally everything. He was the most wisest person in the Bible at this time. But somehow Solomon compared his life to a chasing after the wind. And I think a lot of times we sometimes chase after the wind, whether the wind be success, whether the wind be status, whether the wind be recognition from people. We're always chasing after something, and sometimes that can feel like chasing after the wind. Mind you, you can't feel or grasp the wind. So when you're chasing after the wind, you're literally just running after something that's not even there, something that you can't even get, something that you can't even catch. And you're going to be running forever because you're never going to catch it. In Ecclesiastes 1:14, Solomon says, I have seen all the things that are done under the sun. All of them are meaningless, a chasing after the wind. He said he's seen it all. He's seen it all, he's tried it all, and all of it is a chasing after the wind. Why? Because God is not at the center. I think it's important that we hold on to the thought that everything in life, everything that we have, all the materialistic things, they're going to disappear. They're going to vanish. They're going to perish. But the one thing that will remain is your foundation with God, your relationship with God, your salvation. That is the only thing that's going to matter in the end when the Father returns. So I think it's important that we don't get distracted, but also remembering that there are some things in life that we must do. We must work, right? Solomon isn't saying don't work, don't start a business, don't do any of these things because it's meaningless. No, Solomon is saying when you do these things, when you start a business, when you get into a relationship, when you write a book, whatever you do, when you do it, make sure that God is at the foundation. Because if it's built on the foundation of this world, it will perish. If it's built on the foundation of this world, it will crumble. But when it's built on the foundation of God, his knowledge, his wisdom, his understanding, it is going to flourish and it's going to stand. Even if it doesn't work out, the foundation is still going to be there so you can rebuild again. Picture a house, right? Picture this is the foundation and then this is the house. A storm comes and it knocks the house down, but the foundation is still there because it was built on God. Wind came, rain blew, but my house was built on you. When you build your house on the Father, you don't have to worry about that foundation ever cracking, breaking, ripping, tearing, none of that, because you know that there is solitude. You know that there is stability. You know that there is firmness in the love of God, in the move of God, in the relationship that you and God have built. You know that that is solid. You know that it is for sure. You know that it is unwavering. What are we building our lives on? What are we building our careers on? What are we building our relationships on? What are we building our businesses on? What are we building our finances on? I have so much faith in the foundations of God because I've seen God to be a way maker. I've seen God to be the light in all the darkness of my life. I've seen him move mountains. I've seen him do so many wonderful things for me. So my faith is crazy because I've seen him do crazy things. He showed me time and time again who he is. So there is no doubt in my mind that I think he won't do it. There's no doubt in my mind that he won't bring me out. There's no doubt in my mind because I have evidence and I am evidence. And I share this evidence with the world so that you guys can also know that God is the God he said he was. God is the God that they talk about in the Bible. He is the healer, okay? He is. But just like there are things that we have to take care in life, like pay bills, there are also things that our spiritual body needs in order to live and thrive and be. Just as much as we gotta drink water and we gotta eat, men cannot live on bread alone. So there are still things spiritually that you have to do for your body, just as much as there are things physically that you have to do for your body. I drew something, and if you know me, I always love to draw things out because it just helps me understand things more. But this is a drawing of a human body, and then this is the spiritual view of that body. The physical view of that body is that humans need 60% water in order to not dehydrate. If you dehydrate, you'll pass out, you might even die. So we need 60% of water in our body at all times in order to remain full and not dehydrate. There are also things spiritually that our body needs in order to not fall down into depression, in order to not fall down into doubt, in order to not fall down into suicidal thoughts, in order to just stay strong and healthy spiritually. There are things that our bodies need just as much as there are things that our body needs to stay strong and healthy physically. Do not forget about your spiritual person. Do not forget about your spiritual aspect of life, because if you're not feeding into that spiritual part of your body, then it's gonna die. We search for a lot of things in life. We're always searching for something because we're always longing for something. And remember that we have hearts. These hearts, they're always longing for something. And the hard truth is that the very things that we are searching for can only be found in God, but we're searching everywhere else. Can you imagine looking for something and looking in all the wrong places only to find that it was there all along? Looking for love in all the wrong places only to find that the love of God was the only love that I needed. Looking for recognition in all the wrong places only to find that God's opinion is the only opinion that matters. Only to find that God is the only approver. I recently had to work at the BET Awards, and I was surrounded by a lot of celebrities. And the Lord spoke to me in the midst of that, and I kind of like stepped back and I began to look around. But what God showed me was, if these people were ripped of everything, if everything was just stripped, if they were just stripped of everything, what would they have in the end? And then when I began to look around the room, all I could see was nakedness. And the Lord spoke to me and he said, what will they have if everything was ripped away? And I had to ask myself, if God ripped away everything that I have, everything that I own, what will I have? Will I still have a firm foundation? Will I have a relationship with God? God wants you to love your life. He wants you to be happy. He wants you to have joy, but he also wants you to obey his commandments. He's not saying you can't do this, you can't do that, and live a boring life. No, he's just saying whatever you do, honor me. Enjoy what God has given you. Ecclesiastes 11:9-10 says, you who are young, be happy while you are young, and let your heart give you joy in the days of your youth. Follow the ways of your heart and whatever your eyes see, but know that for all these things, God will bring judgment unto you. And then here it says, let us learn to enjoy what God has given to refresh and strengthen us, and refuse to spend our energy looking for something besides what he intends for us. Enjoy what God has given you. Live your life. Learn some new things. In Ecclesiastes 10:10, it says, if the axe is dull and its edge unsharpened, more strength is needed, but skill will bring success. My Bible here, and it says, trying to do anything without the necessary skills or tools is like chopping wood with a dull axe. If your tool is dull, you should sharpen it to do a better job. If you lack skills, you should sharpen them through training and practice. Sharpening your axe means recognizing where a problem exists or honoring the skill to do the job better and then going out and doing it. Find the areas of your life where the axe is dull and sharpen your skills so you can be more effective for God's work. Stay sharp, learn new things, go out, experience life, grow, desire God's will for your life at the end of the day. But still, there are so many things in this, so many good things in this world, so many great resources that we have access to as humans. And God is not saying miss out on all those things because they're a part of the world. No, he's just saying when you do indulge in those things, make sure that I'm at the center. Make sure that you remember in the day of judgment, you're going to be judged for those things that you do. We just got to be careful how we operate in this world. It can be very distracting and some things can be very misleading. But when God is at the foundation, when you stick close to God, he will guide you, he will lead you, and he will never forsake you. The last scripture in Ecclesiastes is Ecclesiastes 12:14, and it says, "For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every hidden thing, whether it is good or evil." And that's how we close. Know that the day of judgment, you will be judged for whatever you do, good or bad.
Falling in love.